Farewell Tabla Maestro Zakir Hussain. Tabla Maestro Zakir Hussain, battling heart-related problems, has died at a hospital in the US today at the age of 73. Born in Bombay as the eldest son of the legendary Tabla Maestro Allah Rakha, Zakir Hussain followed in his father's footsteps to become a global icon in the world of classical music. Over the course of his illustrious six-decade career, Hussain received numerous prestigious awards, including 5 Grammy Awards, out of which he won 3 at the 66th Annual Grammy Awards earlier this year. One of his defining contributions was the 1973 fusion project with John McLaughlin, Shankar and T.H. Vikku Vinayakram, blending Indian classical music with jazz in a fusion. Hussain received India's highest honours, the Padma Shri in 1988, Padma Vibhushan in 2002 and Padma Vibhushan in 2023, cementing his legacy as one of the nation's most celebrated classical musicians. I'm going to go straight across to Amit Tyagi for more details on that. Amit, in fact, earlier there was some news that he is okay, he is serious, but he is in fact alive. But now we do have a confirmation that indeed India has lost the tabla legend.
Yes, the whole industry has been, shocked with this news when the news about he's not well broken. Now it's confirmed, his family has confirmed that Tabla Maestro, the legend of the music industry, Zakir Hussain, is no more. I mean, it's almost 5 decades career as an artist who put India as a global music, globally he was a music icon. I mean, it just comes to my mind the Vahataj, the advertisement in the 80s, which with tabla sound that created so much passion. His music, his kind of his personality. I had a chance to interview him like 18 years back, and he was such a fun person to talk to. And moreover that, he was a person who took Indian music to another level. He created the different space for Indian music. Indeed, a big loss.
All right, will just be with us. Amit, we'll just come back to you in a moment from now. Indeed, it's a huge loss as far as India's classical music scene is concerned. Zakir Hussain was, in fact, one of our best and most well-known classical musicians in the country, associated with classical music in the country. Listen in to this snippet now of an old interview of my colleague Rajdeep Sardesai with Zakir Hussain.
There has been this remarkable evolution or this journey of learning from the young Zakir Hussain, who helped create in the late 1970s this fusion band Shakti, which later now, all these years later, wins the best global music album. This evolution of the way you saw fusion music in the late 70s, bringing together Western and Indian musicians together. Tell me about this process of evolution, what it's been like taking Shakti from the 70s to winning a Grammy with them today.
Absolutely. I mean, Shakti was at the forefront of this movement of recognizing music on a global level. When Shakti released our first record, there was no such thing as global music or world music or new age or anything. And so when Shakti came on the stage and the record came out and it was a success and we started touring, people realized that there is, there are avenues beyond their vision and which needed to be explored, and there's music that can be spoken in so many different languages and yet be valid anywhere on the face of the earth. And so in that way, Shakti kind of set the tone, and finally this is the redemption of Shakti group, which finally 50 years down the road wins the Global Music Award and gets recognized for its contribution vis-a-vis breaking down barriers, breaking down fences, and putting the idea of music as a universal statement in the minds of the people all over the world.
But what for you, Zakir Hussain, is really global music or universal music, as you call it? Because it's gone through various avatars over the years. You mentioned Pandit Ravi Shankar. He was a pioneer in the 1960s. You've now taken it to a new level. What, therefore, how do you define global music? Is it just bringing West and Eastern musicians together, or is it much more evolved than that?
Global music is a unified statement of the people of this earth who happen to be speaking the language of music, as opposed to just English or Hindi or Marathi or German or French or so on and so forth. Music is a conversation that happens amongst people, and it happens to be a process or an exercise which transcends all borders and all fences, all religions, all other ways of life, and it's a living process unto itself. And for musicians, that becomes a unified statement, and music can be made in that manner. When Shakti plays, the five of us coming together and performing music, what comes out on the other side is not five different ideas thrown at you simultaneously, but one idea, five people thinking as one and unified in their thought process, totally comfortable in each other's environment, each other's way of life, each other's way of thinking, and expressing their music. And when it comes together, it becomes this one story that is being told, and that to me is global music. It doesn't have to be all Indians. It can be Indians, Americans, Japanese, Chinese, Indonesian, African, South American, whatever, Middle Eastern. They are all coming together and making music. And in this day and age, you find so many varieties of records that have come out with incredible combination of musicians from all over the world interacting with each other, and the music comes out as one statement. So that to me is global. For a record company, for CD companies, the ones who have to sell records, it's of course a name that they want to put on a bin, but for us it's kind of a harking to a future that we believe is in some ways a savior of humanity, because if people all over the world would consider interacting with each other the way the musicians and the artists all over the world interact with each other, we may have a much more peaceful planet in our hands than it appears to be at the moment.
But you know, Zakir Hussain, what is interesting to me in a way is also the Grammy-winning album, This Moment, as it's called, was conceptualized, I'm told, during COVID times. And you bring out these 8 songs by John McLaughlin, yourself, Shankar Mahadevan on vocals, Selva Ganesh, Ganesh Rajagopalan, all 4 of you in different spaces. Did COVID give you all that time, the bandwidth to therefore unleash your collective creative energies?
Yeah, it gave us all the time in the world to be able to really take stock of that which we wanted to put out as a statement from 5 of us. We could take our time, review, chip and chisel and sculpt a piece of music in our own time, do it the best we could get to at that time. That's the great thing about being able to work in a studio environment. Up till that time, we had not made a studio album for the last 45 years. The last 3 albums were all live concert albums. So that kind of thinking and sitting together and analyzing, assimilating, emulating different elements and trying to come up with a piece of music that we could stand behind and say, this is where we are at this time in our life, and this is what we want to say through our music.